played at Clemson. DJ, I can't. I always can't. I butcher
DJ
his last.
Ungulele.
Yeah,
We got him.
he had 28 games at Clemson over the last 3 years, and
DJU.
now he's going to start at Oregon State. Yogi Roth. Now we got him. Sorry, with little phone issues today. Yogi, how you doing, buddy? What's going on?
I'm doing great, man. Fired up to talk to you.
We appreciate you making some time. We just had a rejoin with Coach Fitz, having some fun with Kenny Dillingham, all the transfers that have come to the school. 50-something plus scholarships have been filled that weren't here last year. As you look ahead for this Sun Devil team, I know you split. You were up at camp at Cush Camp. You did it all. Where do you think their strengths are, and where do you think they may have some issues?
Yeah, well, I think year one with anybody, it's kind of like we'll see when we see it. I think it's really hard to predict. I do like the experience they brought in, though. I think at wideout, when they get Elijah Badger in the second half, you'll feel him pick up where he left off. Cam Scattaboo, a big fan of him. Xavier Guillory. I think that crew, he had in Jalen Conyers, they've got guys that can make plays within this offense. I think they'll find ways to get it out of Jaden Rashada's hands quickly, get it in space. So I'd probably go there. The D line stood out for me a little bit. BJ Green, the guy, he's just gonna be hard for everybody to block all season long. So I'm kind of really pleasantly surprised. I think with their front, Trey Brown, knowing him from Washington State coming down, and of course Jordan Clark. So they've got pieces that I think at every layer and every position group of this team that have a chance to do some good things this year. But the questions I think remain are what wins and loses you games? Can you protect? What does that look like up front? And can you cover, especially in this league? So I'm looking forward to watching. Roe Torrance looks the part. I think he's got a chance to be really unique. Who's the other corner on the other side? What does it really look like in a game? Those are the things I think we'll just find out tonight when they kick it off, and especially next week and as they get it under their schedule.
And to that point, Yogi, my question for you is, it seems as though you want to get the experience, get the reps for your first and second teamers per se, but not show enough, but yet again, work on just as much and get yourself ready for next week. That's kind of got to be hard for a brand new staff to get this team ready, play really well, get them off the field, and try to get some kind of reps and kind of a semblance when you got Oklahoma State coming in next weekend.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, and a lot of these systems, as you know, because you're around in the Sun too, man, is they're going to run the system as the system, and then as they get into different games, they're going to dress it up in a bunch of ways to make it really complex for the opponent, especially offensively with Bo Baldwin and Kenny Dillingham, leading that side of the ball. So I think they're going to run their stuff. They have to. I mean, you don't know how Jaden Rashada is going to play. You can't hold anything back. Maybe you hold back a trick 2-point play, or you hold back a reverse, or something exotic, but you got to run your core stuff. You got to see if guys can do it. I called the week 0 game with SC and San Jose State. It was the same thing. SC ran their stuff. They only had 2 motions all game long, so they didn't dress it up like they will once they get into conference play. But they ran their core runs, they ran their core movement plays, they ran their core drop back passes. So I don't think Kenny Dillingham or anybody can afford to not run your stuff, especially the first game of the program. You only get 12, and this team, obviously, we don't know how talented they are. So I think they got to cut it loose tonight. And you also want to provide a little entertainment value. It's been a hard week, I know, at Arizona State, and I would imagine that the community has rallied around this team, and I hope I know it's hot there, but I hope tonight they show up with the support of the Valley and they put on a little bit of a show for them.
Yogi, I think that will be the case this evening, and I hope that you're right, that ASU does put on a show. Quickly, let me go back to SC real quick, since you were there watching in person and working that game. Is it a case in point where we all know how good USC's offense is with Caleb Williams at running back, but is San Jose State better than anticipated, or is it a case where, once again, Lincoln Riley has not shored up his defense?
Yeah, well, you've seen so many of these openers. I think every team in the country that plays their first game this weekend will not play perfect, right? So if you look at the SC defense, having called the game and watched it back a few times since, they had a couple busts that led to, obviously, a touchdown before the half, a big 3rd and 22 conversion in the second quarter, in the first quarter. But those were busts. That was a D lineman loop into the left and he should have looped to the right. That was a corner playing an inverted safety look, and he played the hash and didn't play the boundary well. Like, those things are things that I think are going to happen to everybody a lot of times in week one. The good thing is that they played a team that he couldn't handle the explosiveness that USC ended up showcasing in the return game, and of course with Caleb in the offense. But I honestly think the defense has taken a big step. You look at that defensive line, and it's transfer. I mean, the whole front seven is flipped from a year ago.
3 minutes.
I think they're much better, having called their opener in a bunch of games last year than they were a year ago. I think the narrative of SC's defense isn't, any better than it was against Tulane is inaccurate, to be honest with you. And I think they're a work in progress, like every defense in the country in this era of college football. And San Jose State, I think, will make a lot of noise in the Mountain West this year if they can survive their brutal first couple games within their schedule. But no, man, I think SC is big time upgrade defensively than where they were. I think they'll continue to show out, and then we'll see really with them in the back half of the season when they have to play the Utahs and Oregons and Washingtons and UCLA and Notre Dame. I mean, there's a stretch there that's pretty brutal for them.
Yogi, I guess I'm intrigued. A couple games, the TCU Colorado game, just to see how Coach Prime and that team handles the 17th ranked team. And the other one I think is going to be a very good game is going up north to Seattle, watch Boise State and Washington to watch those two teams get after, which I think is going to be a good game. But
2
how
minutes.
Colorado responds to the onslaught of TCU is going to be very interesting this weekend.
Oh man, I mean, it's must see, and I'm all in. I'm all in on leaning into the hype. I think the best game is going to be the one in a couple hours with Utah and Florida, because it's just a huge opportunity for Utah's program, for the country to see really how excited that fan base is, what it's like there, and then they're going to go into the Big 12. And to me, and I get what TCU did a year ago, but I think Utah's been a more consistent program. You just have to look at the numbers to see that. So they'll walk into the Big 12 in a great scenario a year from now. But you're right on the Buffs. The biggest question is when it gets hard, because I think they'll play an incredible half. I mean, this is a team that had the lead against TCU last year at the half. They're up 7-6, right, I believe. So now I think they'll come out, they'll play with their hair on fire, and the challenge will be in that third quarter, can you sustain? And if they lose, the biggest question to me is going to be like, Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, has been a truth teller from the beginning.
1 minute. 1 minute.
And I wonder what he'll be like and what this team will be like when adversity strikes, because we can treat them like pros all we want. We can say college football is NFL light all we want. But the one thing that didn't change amid all the changes is the age range of these young men playing. And they are as fragile as ever, I think, in this era of college football. So I'm curious how he manages it. And I'm curious how this team manages it when it gets hard, because their schedule is brutal. I'm not picking Colorado to go to the title. I hope they do. I hope they win them all, because it'll be a hell of a story. But I'm most intrigued to see how they deal with adversity in the second half of that game against TCU.
All right, Yogi, last one here being the Thursday as it kicks off tonight. And you look in your crystal ball, aside from Caleb Williams, because all the talk is about Williams, that's all we hear about, who would you say is going to be the number 2 quarterback this year?
Oh, man, it's so hard.
I know. It's really hard.
I don't know.
I mean, like 6 new ones.
Yeah, you got 6 coming back with 3,000 plus yards of offense. You've got a couple transfers, and then you got a true freshman. I mean, I think 11 of the 12, I know Stanford hasn't announced the quarterback, but 11 of the 12 starters in this league might be transfer quarterbacks. I don't think you can go through the conversation and not say Michael Penix Jr. as the nation's leading passer. It's hard to not say Bo Nix. It's hard to not talk about Jaden Delora. But I also want to give a lot of love to DJ Uyunglele, because I picked Oregon State to go to the title game based on their schedule, who they play when and where they play. I mean, he's 6'3", 6'4", 256. QB run game, drop back pass game. They're going to run the ball, play action, get him out of the pocket. I mean, I think he's going to play at a high level, man. I'm not saying I take him over Michael Penix or Bo Nix or the guys I referenced, because we got to go see it. But I am intrigued, and I think as a broadcaster, what I like the most, man, is the last 5 minutes of every game are going to be phenomenal this season, regardless of opponent.
All right, Yogi, as we let you go, the It Factory, you had a great one on tight end Jalen Connors the other day. What do you got coming up? Who's kind of give us a tease on who we may see here soon?
Yeah, so I've been building these features all summer long on Michael Penix Jr. and why he returned, and Bo Nix and why he's playing with joy, and why he decided to spur the NFL and come on back, right? This is a married man who's been in college for a long time. So the next 2 episodes are those 2 quarterbacks.
Nice.
And they're intense, man. They're really fun. I got on a boat with Michael Penix Jr. We were fishing while we did the interview. And for Bo, it was cool. His parents are in it. His wife is in it. His coach, of course, is in it. So those are the next 2 episodes, and 2 that I'm really proud of.
Yogi, we'll be watching tonight, man. Thanks for the time as always. Appreciate it.
You got it, brother. Have a great night one.
You got it. Yogi Roth joining us. You can follow him on Twitter at Yogi Roth. He's brought to you today by All City Towing. As they're hiring, go to allcitytowing.com and search careers. Coming up, it's our Twin Peaks picks. We'll take caller number 5, 602-260-9191. You'll compete against